All right, Biden bureaucrats are really thwarting and undermining bridges, roads, and tunnels and a lot of stuff that was in the highway bill and the infrastructure bill. They're just stopping it. Joining me now to talk about it, Alaska Senator Dan Sullivan. Welcome, Senator Sullivan. We appreciate it. I mean, yeah, I bought into some of the infrastructure bill. There's some of the infrastructure bill that I didn't like. But the point is, the stuff that we should have liked, highways, roads, and bridges, everything they're doing, this Federal Highway Administration, FHWA, they are now using EPA and endangered species and whatnot to stop fixing bridges, roads, and tunnels. At least that's my reading of it. You tell me.
Well, Larry, I think you're right. And right now, you may have seen this Federal Highway Administration guidance from Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary of Transportation. Here's my message to every governor and every commissioner of State Department of Transportation. Ignore it. Ignore it. This is another lawless left-wing power grab that's not in the law. You know, these ideas that they put in that memo about not being able to expand highways, these are something that were rejected when this hard infrastructure bill was written. And so this is something that you're saying, and I agree with Larry, they're trying to do all over, particularly with regard to the anti-energy agenda of this administration. They can't get things passed in the law, so they try to move it through bureaucracies, through radical nominees. And again, my message to governors, state DOT commissioners, ignore this. It's not in the law. States have the authority to do what they want with these federal dollars. That is what's in the law.
Yeah, I mean, you had this story about the deputy EPA administrator. I'm not sure who it is exactly. But anyway, she says if you've got new highways, bridges, roads, if you're expanding, if you're bringing new right-of-ways, any unplanned growth, it goes to the bottom of the pile. But if you want, let's say, bicycle paths, that goes to the top of the pile. So these left-wing appointees are undermining the actual legislation. I mean, there's a Supreme Court case here someplace that prevents that, but they're going through it. The other point, Dan, is the NEPA, which would have short-circuited the time and kept everything to 1 year or less than 1 year or no more than 2 years. They're throwing that out the window too because of endangered species laws and climate change. I mean, it sounds bad. Is it as bad as it sounds?
Well, look, one of the things that, Larry, you and I worked on during the Trump administration is we got that executive order on one federal decision and a whole bunch of things to limit the timelines on permitting. That was great stuff. We did get some of that, not as much as I wanted, but some of that in the law, in the hard infrastructure bill. So again, what I'm saying to the federal agencies is you have to follow the law, not your left-wing wish list. And what's in the law doesn't equate to what Buttigieg is saying, what the EPA is saying. And again, this kind of crazy anti-energy policy, it's driving up prices on working families, but it's also undermining our national security. As you know, you got to remember what we inherited, what the country inherited at the beginning of the Biden administration. We were once again the world's energy superpower, and now this administration wants to unilaterally disarm on energy. It's national security suicide, and we're all trying to fight it. I don't think the American people support it. It's why they can't get any of this passed in the law, and it's why some of the left-wing bureaucrats are trying to sneak it through the bureaucracy, and we're staying vigilant and trying to crush it.
Yeah, the deputy administrator, I'm old, I don't remember all these names. Stephanie Pollack is the deputy administrator. So, Senator Sullivan, can't you, I know the GOP is writing letters and stuff, but can't you haul them down in front of you, hold hearings? They are not allowed legally, right? We have a separation of powers. You pass a law, it's up to the regulators to enforce the law. They're not doing that. They are absolutely, because of all their left-wing, woke, radical climate, God knows what, equity, inequality, they're just not doing what you wanted them to do. Again, I wasn't crazy about the infrastructure bill, but the parts that I liked, are being subverted. That is, roads, bridges, and tunnels. Biden goes to wherever, Minnesota, Minneapolis, the bridge caves in, okay? And it turns out no money is going to that bridge because of these regulatory interventions by the left-wing bureaucrats.
Well, look, you're exactly right in terms of oversight. We need to do that because, again, some of these ideas were proposed and were rejected out of hand to go into this hard infrastructure bill. But my point again that I'll emphasize, Larry, if commissioners of state DOTs or governors are hearing this, they need to ignore it. The way the formula works for federal dollars, for federal highways, is the state determines what is good for their individual states. That's one of the good things about this bill. The execution of the federal dollars is by the states. That's what the law is. That's what it's going to continue to be. And we got to make sure left-wing bureaucrats don't thwart that.
All right, got it. I'm on it. States do their own thing. And by the way, the states are all cutting taxes. They should continue to do that, too. Senator Dan Sullivan, thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Larry.